Chapter 1: The Beginning of Trouble. Once upon a time, Maxwell, New York City's finest police officers, of the notorious evil robber JT. JT sat in prison trying to figure out a prison escape. He needed help and was out of ideas. JT heard a rumble and his evil assistant Oscar, an orange and white cat, hopped out of the toilet. "Bearsky bitty bop bop, you scared me," gasped JT. "Let's get to work." They both scratched and scratched for weeks. JT gave up on scratching. Oscar kept scratching and found a key. JT noticed the key and picked it up. An alarm screeched as loudly as a naughty kid on Christmas opening their gifts just to find coal. Maxwell rushed to see the emergency and walked down where he noticed a sign. It was an emergency beacon in the sky that read SOS. Maxwell spotted JT with the key in his hands breaking out. JT swiftly started wrestling Maxwell. Oscar threw an itchy net on Maxwell, and he was immobilized. JT and Oscar ran to their evil lair. JT gave Oscar some of his macaroni and cheese. "Delicious. Thanks, boss," muffled Oscar as he licked his lips and scooped the macaroni and cheese with his paws. The chief rescued Maxwell and was concerned about what happened. Maxwell knew where JT's evil lair was because he found it on evilairs.com. It was the new hot website on Google. The cops were ready to swat JT's evil lair. JT spied on some cops surrounding his lair. JT jumped out the window and tackled a random cop named Jose. Oscar threw nets on the police. JT snuck back upstairs, feeling foolish for jumping out. Oscar told JT to look in his binoculars. JT spotted a bank and it was as busy as downtown. JT and Oscar ziplined to their getaway car and began the robbery. Maxwell arrived at JT and Oscar's evil lair. Maxwell spotted binoculars laying next to the litter box. Maxwell added a small tracking device to the binoculars. Maxwell peered through the binoculars. Maxwell targeted the robbers and hopped in his police car. JT eyed Maxwell behind him and rushed to the bank. JT ran up with a gun and took all of the money. JT spotted Maxwell speeding into the bank and rushed out with billions of dollars into a dirty 23-year-old sewer. Maxwell did not like sewers and refused to follow JT and Oscar. Maxwell checked a map to try and guess where the sewer led out to. Maxwell eyed JT and Oscar hopping out of the sewer to go to the space store. Maxwell rushed to police car to drive to the space store blocks away. As Maxwell arrived, dozens of slot machines fell all over him. It caused lots of pain. JT and Oscar stole a $70 Nalozen limousine, like Mars rover, and climbed up to the giant roof. Oscar made his very first helicopter and flew to the closest space shuttle. Maxwell was in an ambulance headed for the hospital and noticed the helicopter landing with the evil duo inside. Suddenly, Maxwell pushed through the pain and hopped out of the ambulance, rushing to the space shuttle. JT and Oscar sped inside the latest rocket that was taking off. The door was locked and Maxwell tried to hold on to the slippery rocket. The countdown beeped on 0 and Maxwell took off like a wacky cartoon character. JT and Oscar landed on the oh-so-red planet of Mars. Maxwell fell off of the humongous rocket. Oscar grabbed out his Mars rover and gave it a test drive around the sandy surface of Mars. JT put dynamite on the Mars rover so they could make sure it would detonate and blow up Maxwell. Maxwell tried to outrun the Mars rover and was frightful of 3 Maxwell's Playroom: The Big Explosion. The dynamite blew up loudly and moon rocks were everywhere. The explosion made a big echoing cave. Maxwell was propelled during the explosion and landed into the cave. JT and Oscar hopped into the deep cave. Meanwhile, a NASA police robot was drinking prime near the cave. Robotic bats with paralyzing Jill found and picked up JT and Oscar. The police robot beeped. "You are both going to be sent to another galaxy called Planet Jail. Farewell, and you cannot break out. This is not a resort. You will be strapped to the wall and permanently paralyzed. Remember, you will be like this for the rest of your life. Farewell. Oh, and Maxwell, you are the best cop ever. You will be the new chief of New York City." Maxwell held onto the police robot's back, and they flew down to Earth. When they arrived, a parade came down to the city, and it had balloons, banners, and flags that spelled Maxwell. Everyone sang the national anthem in honor of Maxwell.